I gotta move all my snacks off camera so I don't look like a fucking pig.
Yeah.
I know, but like, it was an inordinate amount.
Yeah, no such thing.
I look like a
Craft
kid
service.
on Halloween with wrappers in front of me. Ah, that's right. You used to craft syrup.
I had so much junk.
Oh, I'm sure. It's like fucking Cheez-Its and Triscuits and other. Here's your, what's the healthy one? Is it a Lorna Doone or a Belvita or some shit like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Some
Fucking,
keeps you regular biscuit.
Nature Valley bars, which disintegrate when you open it, and like every
You have to
production,
sell your car after you open a Nature Valley granola bar.
every production gets those too, and you open it. Just
The oats and honey one, I'm not going to lie, I like it.
they're
It's
tasty if they stay together at all.
Oh, they don't stay together. You just kind of eat it and lean forward over the ground.
Yeah,
That's the only way to eat one of those.
pretty much. That's the only way.
Holy shit. What are we doing today?
And ask you some questions.
All right. Welcome to the Tragedy Academy, a show created to bridge societal divides in a judgment-free zone using candor and humor. My name is Jay, and I got Gary in studio. He is back.
Today there will be judgment.
There will be judgment. What does that mean?
I have no idea.
I'm so terrified now. That wasn't like that was a weird way to intro something.
There will be judgment today. I will ask you questions, and then I will judge you on the answers. And then I will ask follow-up questions, which will also be judged. Just kidding.
So will the questions be judged as well?
Yes. You could judge me on my questions. I will judge you on the answers. And then that'll be the last time we judge anybody on this show ever again.
Oh, so this is no longer a judgment-free zone. This is a judgment zone for the next.
It's like 40 minutes to 9 hours, depending on how long it goes.
It's like a Cinderella thing. Like the judgment goes down at midnight. The pumpkin fucking turns back into a pumpkin from a carriage. Whatever the fuck it is.
Nah, just when I have to poop, then it's over.
Yeah, that's a clear line that we have here on the show. We have a 0 fecal tolerance level here. Our fecal tolerance is, in fact, 0.
Yes. For some reason, my chair's got these holes in it. So that might be why they made it that way. Or so your butt doesn't sweat. I'm back.
I'm guessing it's the latter.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess you're like, oh, he's back. Oh, he's gone.
I don't have my sound effects next to me.
Oh,
Pretty
man.
funny. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe we do.
Fix it in post.
Fix it in post. Hang on.
Post loves that saying.
Oh, hang on. That wasn't live. What do we got here? Oh, yeah, this sucks.
All right. When you guys hear this, it's going to have sound.
I tried to play some ha-ha-has, but that didn't work out. I'll tell you what. You know what I did? Here's what I did. If you look, I'm wearing Into the AMT as usual today. But
is that a hoot?
Subliminally, I have their Nocturnal Divide tee on, and it's an owl. So while you're asking me questions, you will feel as if I have wisdom.
Oh.
Due to the owl on my shirt.
I thought you wanted me to give a hoot about your answers.
Give a hoot. Ba-dum-bum.
Oh. Yeah, I've been working 18-hour days for like 3 weeks straight. I slept for 19 minutes last night, which is a lot. So I'm refreshed and don't make any sense today. Yeah.
Did you say 19 minutes?
Yeah, about that. I slept for like 6 hours, which is more than I've slept in like a month. So I'm more tired somehow, but also more awake.
I have this level of tired when I'm like on just E. I've been doing continuous work, just like you said. When I lay down, there's this bizarre feeling of almost like you're falling off of a cliff and being sucked into the pillow hard. Like to the point that it's almost scary sometimes how hard you fall asleep.
Yeah. And then I wake up like, what the fuck? Like, where am I? Like, I should be somewhere else. Like, why is my phone not going off? Oh, it's dead. Yeah.
Bro, we'll have to get to the questions because last night, for some reason, the smoke alarm in our house chirped first one time in the master bedroom. And I swear to God, I hit the ground like I did a superhero entrance. And unfortunately for all of you out there, I sleep commando. So it was a situation. Middle-aged man jumping out of the bed. All that aside, it didn't make another noise. So you have to check, though. You can't let a smoke alarm chirp go unchecked because then you end up on the Darwin Awards. Because the smoke alarm did go off, you should at least go look. So I suited up, I went out there, walked around the house, looked at everything, nothing. Got up, back upstairs, laid down on the bed, literally rolled over, got comfortable, just about to go out. Chip, just one.
The battery?
No, ours are hardwired.
Yeah.
I have no idea why it did it. And it did it like 3 single times and never did it again. It was so creepy. And it was also bullshit having to wake up in the middle of the fucking night like that.
Yeah.
Sucks.
I'm going to get like a little recorder, like a little speaker, and just hide it in your house next time in there that just randomly chirps like twice a month.
You would not face my wrath. You would face Taryn's wrath.
Okay, I'm not going to do that.
You don't want the Colombian Italian to come after you?
Nah, no one wants to watch you just diving under the bed all naked like twice a month.
Well, first of all, I didn't dive under the bed like some kind of Nancy boy or whatever.
Well, because that's not a good place to be if the house is on fire.
No, I didn't dive under the most flammable giant thing there was. Left my wife and dog on the bed.
I'll be under air.
Check the door. If it's hot, don't open it.
Yeah, let me know if it gets really hot up there.
All right, now that we've established that I'm a psychopath and a fraidy cat at the same time.
No, you just don't want your family to burn. That's a good quality.
Oh, no, I just meant when I hid under the bed and let her go check.
That was pretty weak.
Yeah, that's
even though I made that up completely.
No, I did my thing. I walked around the house and she was weirded out too because the fact that it's just one, it wasn't one of those chirps like, the battery's not done. It was like a legit like smoke alarm sound, like it was going off, but it was only one solid buzz.
Maybe like the
one time
power got interrupted for some reason for a second.
Yeah, it was super weird. Super weird. So if you rob my house though, you will get beat up naked.
Unless you're under the bed.
That should be a deterrent.
Yeah, it is. Okay. Wasn't it? I think it was on Jackass or something. Johnny Knoxville was like doing a thing where he had to like fight people. And he'd like square up and take his pants off and like run away.
I remember that one. like a Party Boy used to do that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, maybe that was who it was. Yeah.
Party Boy did it in Japan. They had a really big thing in Japan when they did Jackass 2, and they just ran around like Tokyo doing nonsense stuff like dressing as pandas, Chinese. Putting like a whole cone over Wee Man, like a giant cone, and just having him stop in front of people because Japanese people are super polite and they just act like what's happening is not happening.
Yeah.
So they're just like walking around the cone as if it's not pushing into them with a little human in it.
Yeah, I got beef with Johnny Knoxville.
What is the beef with Johnny Knoxville? Didn't we talk about this once?
We may have. It involved a bear and a UFC champion and poop.
Is this a story you could tell?
Can.
Is it a story you should tell?
We were doing the Ultimate Fighter, and one of the coaches had met Johnny Knoxville at a party. And if you don't know the show, there's 2 coaches that have 2 teams of 8 like up and comers, and they coach them into a tournament style format. Person that wins gets a contract to the UFC. They play pranks on each other traditionally, the coaches. One coach met Knoxville at a party, and she called Dana and my boss, who runs the television company, and it's like, hey, I got Knoxville here. He wants to do a prank to the other coach. And they're like, oh, that's fucking awesome. Great. Yeah, have him do whatever he wants. Bad shit to say to him.
You gave Johnny Knoxville a green light for whatever the fuck you wanted to prank him with?
Yeah. So as you can see, my room's not very big. It's probably about as big as the locker rooms
The
are.
studio.
Yeah. So they wanted to put a full-grown bear into one of the locker rooms. So when the coach walks in, there'd be a full-grown bear, and then lock the door. Couple things. The bear had to be there for 3 to 5 days ahead of time to acclimate, which means to piss and shit, and you're not allowed to remove the piss or shit. So UFC locker room, piss and
In
shit.
the locker room or the
Yeah.
cage?
In the locker room, there's no cage. You have to be out of the cage because it has to like be comfortable in surroundings so it doesn't eat whoever's face off completely. During that 5-day period, there was going to be a UFC event. I think Johnny Walker was the main event. So you just picture Johnny Walker on ESPN getting warmed up, and there's just a bear shitting like over his right shoulder on ESPN.
Some poo.
Yeah. So
You don't. That's the one time you don't do like that boxing foot shuffle, because you'll just kind of skedaddle like a fucking cartoon right in bear shit.
yeah, see, like he calls me, he's telling me all this. I'm like, there's zero chance I could let that happen. He's like, well, Danis, I'm like, yeah, but you didn't explain to him what you were doing. So he calls him and says it's like some bullshit. And then Dana's like, man, just do whatever he says. And I'm like, I don't think he explained this to you fully. There's going to be a problem. Like you might get your main event and a champion eaten next week. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? So like read him like the whole thing. And he's like, we can't fucking do that. I'm like, yes, that was my point of all of this. Like, that's why I called you. And like my other boss, like he is the busiest guy ever. He's making 30 TV deals a day and whatever. And he like, if I write more than like 7 words in a text message, he like doesn't really read it because he's got 90 of them come through. So I read like a paragraph, like wrote it all out. And he's like, just do whatever he wants. I'm like, I don't think you're fucking have read what I said. He's like, I read it. I'm like, I guarantee you didn't read it. And so I paged in Dana and I was like, look, you guys are going to yell at me, but I'm not going to stop reading until this message is over. And I just started reading it. They're like, you can't fucking do that. I'm like, yes, I know. Like, that is exactly why I'm calling you.
You know what, though? I admire him. It's kind of like negotiations. You always go in asking for the most insane. So what you get away with is still fairly effed up because everybody's just glad the first thing didn't happen.
Yeah, but his fucking rebuttal was a full-grown tiger. And I'm like, you can't do that either. I'm like, that's worse.
Okay, so wait a minute. I have a theory here. Is there a chance he didn't want to do it?
No.
Kind of like a painter. Like a contractor will show up and be like, yeah, I'll paint your house, but it's $15,000.
No. I had the bear handlers calling me. They had a fucking like, they had like cargo all set up. Like he was fucking really mad. He cussed me out like a bunch of times. I'm like, he's like, you guys are fucking
Knoxville?
bullshit. Oh yeah, a lot. He was super mad about it. And then the coach is like one of my best friends. She was like mad about it too. And I was like, look, you can't get people eaten though. Like, and there can't be shit in the locker room for 5 days. Like
you're Ape and Jill or whatever.
Yeah. They're like, well, like Ortega had a fucking 23-foot snake. I'm like, yeah, that thing didn't move at all. It just laid there and it didn't shit. So, and it was only there
that's a good point, man.
And it was there for a half hour. Like not 5 days.
There's a zero fecal tolerance in your locker rooms, except for where it belongs.
I mean, bear shit for 5 days.
What does a bear do in a locker room for 5 days?
It shits. That's what it does. It walks around in circles and shits in huge piles everywhere.
I like it doing some training in there, some shadow boxing, trying on like a jock strap, doing some other shit.
Yeah, I'm like, what happens if the bear like decides to go bear? And they're like, well, gives warning signs
decides
first.
To be a bear.
Yeah, they're like, well, gives a couple warning signs first, and like after like second or third, we'll like get her out of there. I'm like, what if he goes on 2, not 3? Like, I don't know. Like,
they can slap your head like almost clean off.
Yeah, thing was like 500 or something. It was a fucking big ass bear. It wasn't like a little.
Was it like a brown or a black bear? I don't know the difference between the two. Well, besides the color, let me
I don't either.
clarify.
I know that the thing was like on its like hind legs or whatever. It was over 6 feet fucking tall. Like it was humongous. It was fucking hundreds of pounds more than.
But I like that the alternative was a tiger.
Yeah. And like one of the guys on my crew used to work for Siegfried and Roy. He's like, yeah, I was there when the tiger went tiger and ate Roy or Siegfried's face off. I was like, I don't think that's a good idea either.
Hey, can Johnny come on here and pitch why he thought this was a great idea? That would be amazing.
I doubt it. He's like, after that, he's like, well, I'm not fucking doing anything then. I'm like, okay, man. Like if their only option is to like someone's face to get eaten off, like, or shit everywhere. Like, I'm like, can we think of something else? I'm like, I'm not going to suggest things because that's not, my expertise. But I've seen you guys just do weird stuff with animals and kick each other in the nuts. And that's like, what else you got? Like, I don't know. But
Yeah. Why did we land on maiming animal?
yeah, I'm like, and they said that they did it like, I'm like, they did this before. And I'm like, how did it end up? He's like, well, not that good. I'm like, what do you mean not that good? He's like, well, there's an incident. I'm like, what incident? He's like, well,
An incident.
yeah. I'm like, well, now we're
So
trying
you
it
mean
again.
This is the second try.
Yeah. He's like, well, it didn't make the movie because I'm like, because why? He's like, well, I don't want to talk about it. And I was like, come on, man. I think they had to like shoot the thing with a bunch of tranquilizers or something. Like, I don't fucking know.
Well, I'd be pissed too if you locked me in a locker room for 5 days. I got to be honest. Like, of all the places to get locked up, that's high on the list of no thank you.
No, imagine the other coach. I don't give a fuck how good of a sport you are. Like, I'm going to be mad as fuck if
Good
somebody does that
sport.
to me. Like, I'm,
That's like tossing somebody a grenade as a joke that has the pin pulled. Hot potato.
yeah. And I'm like, what happens if she walks in and freaks the fuck out? Like most human beings would. And they're like, well, she's got to like not scream or anything. I'm like, what? What do you mean?
What?
I would
She's
scream.
gotta not scream?
Yeah, like kind of like startled the bear. I'm like, I would fucking scream, shit, piss my pants at the same time, like run, couldn't get out. Like, imagine you can't get out. You go fucking nuts.
You got a fucking bear in there with you. They lock the door behind you.
It's 5 feet away at the most.
Like one of those like Russian videos where the guy's like doing push-ups with a bear on his ass, like
Yeah.
just hanging out, like,
Yeah,
you know.
if it was Khabib, he'd start wrestling it, but this is not Khabib.
No. Either way, man. Either way, that's insane.
Yeah,
Like,
like we do some crazy shit, man. Like we just did a slap fighting show for weeks where you stand across the table and just slap the fire out of people until they get knocked out. Like we do some crazy shit, man. But like bears and cages, it's basically a cage, you know. Like
yeah, see, animal doesn't have the same rule book that we have.
no, they have their own rule book, which is that's dinner.
Yeah. Maybe his ass itched for like 5 hours before they came in there, and he's aggravated as shit because he can't reach it because there's no trees around to rub against.
Yeah, he's like, oh my ass.
Come in there and just get a fucking get your head swatted, man. You end up looking like that guy in Avatar, the fucking mean Marine or whatever with the slice across your head.
Not to mention that this coach brought her like 18-month-old kid to work with her every day, which would probably like be with her when she walked in.
Just have him throw in a cub.
Yeah.
Just give him another one for that size. So when it's just a pissed off mama bear with a cub.
Yeah. Finally, when I explained this to the person that wanted to do the prank, she was like, oh yeah, we can't do that. I'm like, yeah, no, that's what I started with. Cause they downplay it. Like, oh, we do this all the time. Like just put a little bear in there. Like she'll be a little scared and like we'll get, and then all of a sudden it's like
bear.
Yeah, then the handler calls and drops this 3 to 5 day acclimation period and the like warning signs and like all this shit. I'm like, well, yeah, like none of this was communicated at all to me. Like the 5 days of shit piling up. Like
Who shovels that? The handler?
probably some PA.
Oh wait, no, it has to stay there because
Yeah.
the bear is like.
Yeah, it has
Does
to
it have a litter box at least?
No, it has the ground.
Oh man,
It's-
dude.
Yeah,
Did they put down a tarp?
maybe.
Like it's all smooshing it in the grout.
Yeah, it's like all in the mats where these guys warm up before their UFC fights. Just
What
shit.
will stop it? Poop everywhere.
Yeah, just like bear claws, shit jammed everywhere, pissing all over. Like, how much does a bear piss?
They're like
No.
everywhere. You've ever seen animal piss? It just sprays everywhere. They don't care if it hits their legs. They
Yeah.
don't care if it's on your JanSport that's hanging on the outside of your locker.
No, yeah, that shit's all over the fucking place. Like, JanSport.
My gloves smell gamey.
Yeah. Oh, it's a little rancid.
Oh shit, dude.
And the bear might be
this
like,
might
it
end up being a
smells in here.
detention.
Oh yeah. I was going to interview you today, and then I started by telling a really shitty
Oh no,
story.
dude! But we haven't got to hang out in a long time. That's what everybody does. So for those of you who don't know, I guess Gary has his day job is executive producer in reality TV, and part of it, or most of it's sporting events, and it's the Ultimate Fighter and slapping people now, like you said earlier.
PowerSlap, road to the title.
PowerSlap.
CBS, January 11th.
Nice. Good plug. I like that.
It is the craziest shit I've ever done and that you will ever see.
Videos on social media, like I know for sure I could not stand there and take one of these mitts to the face. No way. I wouldn't do it.
We have a 23 power and like resistance tests that we do at the UFC PI, and these guys hit as hard as UFC fighters, some of them, and you're not allowed to block
and
it.
It's clean.
Yeah, you can't block. It's a slap.
Yeah, how do you not do that?
A full slap, rearing back as hard as you possibly can to the. Yeah, there's a lot of naps.
Physics too. Those guys spin like literally. I don't know how to explain it. The shots that you guys have, like the 8 gajillion FPS, where their like cheek starts on the right side of the screen and lands off of the left side of the screen, is insane.
Yeah, we got the best Phantom operator on the planet. The guy does all the, shooting shows where they stop bullets, and like the guy is crazy good. And we got multiple Phantom cameras. They're about 1,100 frames a second, and they.
Wow.
I mean, you could.
What's the significance behind frames per second besides stoppage between what you see? Like, is it the smoothness? What is it? Just curious.
A movie is 25 or 24 frames per second, which means it takes like movies are still pictures like back in the day, but they're shown very rapidly. So a movie will be 24 pictures a second is what you're shown. This is 1,100 pictures a second. So it is just so slow. It slows everything down.
That's like the world's fastest blinking eye of some sort.
Basically, yeah. So it'll just, it'll slow it down, but you could slow anything down, but this slows it down like per frame. So it's not like you see every single thing like you would on any movie, but in a slower pace. Or if you just do slow motion on something that was originally 24 or 60 frames a second or whatever, it's just going to be a blurry mess. But this
choppy
is just,
and
this is just 4K. And then we have to. One thing you have to pump so much light into a place in order to get that, because how long the shutter's open. So it's
is that why you see
bright.
like giant explosions of drool and baby powder flying off of people's heads when they get slapped too?
Yeah, and there's humongous lights up there to give us enough light to see that. But it's like, it's crazy. I mean, one guy had a couple pimples, and you see the pimples pop as he gets it.
Oh man,
one guy
that was
his lip ripped like this. I don't think we showed that because it was on one of the preliminary events, but you could see it like as it's ripping.
Oh man.
Yeah, he had a pre-existing injury there, and it just like.
Oh yeah, he had like a scar that just went ahead and tore open.
Most of these guys fight MMA or boxing or something. I think the guy had a kickboxing event and took an elbow to the face like recently. But I mean, it's crazy. Like you literally see like boogers flying out of people's noses. Like,
can't imagine, dude. As a photographer, it's gotta be a really cool opportunity to film a real strike that is planned and not blocked or some kind of safety net put up to show the experience. No, this is raw, right to the grill.
And you know exactly when it's going to happen. They have to tell you it's going to be on 1, 2, or 3, and then you're not allowed to move your head, so you could be framed right on there. And then, these Phantom cameras, you can't move them a lot like a regular camera. You can, but it's got to settle before you get the shot. So, like, it's hard in a real UFC fight or something. And most people are moving, and it's off. It's not clean.
Right. That's why I was thinking that.
And then just the hand, the surface area of it, like, ripples the face more than like a punch would. Like,
you don't realize how much the human face will look like a pond that's had a stone thrown in it. Like it actually goes out round. The waves travel across the face. Like you could have like a cheek tsunami bounce off your nose and the other side of your ear. It's like going from North America to Japan.
Yeah, it's nuts. I met this guy when we did this show called Top Shot back in the day, and it was like a shooting challenge. And, he would stop AR-15 bullets or whatever, like phenomenal shit, and he's done everything. He worked for the NBA for years and just like, this is what he does for 20 years probably with these cameras as they've developed. And he's like, this is the craziest shit I've ever shot, like by far.
It's made for social media too. If you want to actually fit in TikTok and Reels, this is the one you want. Like, we're all forced into that 1 minute window. You can end a fight in one slap. There you go.
Yeah, it's all the shit that extraneous shit of a fight is out, and it gets right down to the knockout shots. And I love the chess match, and MMA and boxing is always my favorite sport since I was a child. I like the sweet science as well, but there's something about this that every fighter was like, this is stupid, I'll never do it. And then they watched it and they're like, I'll still never do it, but I'm going to fucking watch this shit. Like, there's been
yeah, absolutely.
I asked 300 MMA fighters if they want to sign up, and not one.
See, and that should be a clear indicator as to whether or not you want to be one of the people on the receiving end of one of those slaps. Because if the MMA fighter is like, yeah, I'm good, then that's a clear sign that you're about to get your head slapped off.
Yeah. Since they've seen the commercials coming out and stuff, a lot have changed their mind just because it's the production value and how cool it is and it's going to be very, very big. So a lot of them are like, okay, there's a lot of money that's going to come into this because it's going to be so popular that, maybe I'll take a couple now. But at the beginning, we didn't know what it was going to be as it developed. So, but
that versus prolonged exposure to strikes to the head for 12 rounds or 3, in an octagon or whatever it might be. I'm sure there's people that there's a position that could be argued for the safety versus the other. And at the end of the day, man, if you want to get up there and it's your grape, you want to sacrifice it, put it up there on block. It's not my business.
A 12-round boxing match, you can take up to 300 head hit strikes. MMA might get kicked in the neck by Anderson Silva and then follow to the ground and elbow till you're unconscious. Knees, elbows, forearms to the throat, face. Like, it's brutal getting slapped a couple times for sure. No joke. But MMA, there's some crushing blows. And then, you might wake
Nate
up.
Diaz was the Stockton slap or whatever that he was doing all the time.
I'm probably not supposed to say this part, but there's a Nate Diaz video where he flinches at a guy and the guy's beers fly like way up in the air. It got like 100 million
That's
views.
A famous video.
Yeah, we got the flincher to be on this show.
Oh, so now I'm not even going to ask because I kind of want people to listen and see if this guy takes the slaps or is he as jumpy as he appeared on the catwalk coming into the octagon. Is that a catwalk? I don't know what it is.
Yeah, that was
entry.
I think that was at a Jake Paul boxing match.
Was it?
Maybe it was a UFC fight. I forget, but I have like phenomenal producers that I work with, and we're just thinking outside the box. We had a lot of fighters and stuff, and the guy calls me. He's like, "Remember that video?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I got the flincher." He wants to show that he ain't a flincher no more. I'm like, he's an MMA fighter. He's got a good record. Like, he's a tough dude. He could take it. He wants it. I'm like, all right, let's run him through all the medicals. We run even more medicals than we do for the UFC. Like, just making sure that, multiple brain scans and like a lot. It was $15,000 or so per contestant just to do their medicals.
Wow.
The Nevada Athletic Commission to sanction this made us go like above and beyond everything we've ever done for any other sport.
I can't see anything less though out of Dana and that organization if they're backing this. And, they're a staple in the fighting community. They're the pillar. You would know, but it always seems like they've put the safety and the medical over anything.
Yeah.
All the years that I watched The Ultimate Fighter, so many times you saw things being stopped or people being put through, some kind of exam because of the result of something. And I'm sure you understand all of the nuances in the Nevada gaming and that kind of thing. I think you had actually talked about trying to get a former member of the Nevada Gaming Commission on.
Yeah, well, look at Vince that we had on. They found through his brain scan, they found that brain disease that he had before he was going to fight.
Moya.
If he would have never done that brain scan, like he would have probably died in the fight or after, because you don't just think to go get your brain scanned if everything's fine. You know,
I would be terrified of a brain scan only because I'm 100% positive there's something wrong with me at any given time. And I would be sure that I have an incurable tumor that I just didn't know about yet, and they're going to find it early.
Early's better than late, maybe.
No, early, because now I don't get more time without having to worry about tumor.
Yeah, it's true. I feel the same way about that.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, you know, I feel the same way, which is a bad way to probably think of it, but I don't want to do that either. Yeah, I don't need to know.
Under the rug, sweep it.
Wake up dead. Fine. I don't want to think about it.
Wake up dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that works that way, but
you wake up somewhere else, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Depending on what you believe or what's really true. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever you subscribe to.
Yeah. I hope it's somewhere better, worse, different, just not gone.
Can we solve world peace via slap?
I think you can. We were talking about like Putin versus Trump, or like,
exactly.
Like,
something like that.
Like Biden, he's probably pretty good at that. Enough.
Biden versus Bernie Sanders or some shit. Yeah. Anytime there's a beef, do you imagine those two are pretty fucking frail? What would those slaps like?
Yeah, Biden would be calling someone toots, and Sanders would be talking about something no one can understand.
Toots.
Yeah, I mean, and then Trump would just talk his way out of even having to do it.
All of the non-PC older men oogling the ring person. Everything inappropriate.
Yeah, I am not a Republican or a Democrat.
Neither.
I am just like, I'm on the common sense party over here. That's like, that doesn't make sense. Nope, that doesn't make any. Why are you 100? Why are you 104? Why are you only two choices? We can't get anybody that knows where they're at right now to be the president. Oh, we can't be anybody that just doesn't lie constantly. Like, this is 380 million people in this country. I'm like, super old.
We do bring out the shittiest representation of what we are, who we are, every time we parade this shit.
Yeah, we have two guys that are like, their whole parties are like, let's not let them talk in public for too long before they say something that's crazy that will get them canceled. Like, one guy on purpose, one guy because he doesn't fucking know where he's at.
I have to laugh at the state of humanity in these situations because you can't fucking make this shit up.
No, Biden's like shaking hands with people that aren't even there. Trump just can't stop lying.
It's a cartoon, right? This is, you know what? One day there's just going to be a moment where everything pans away from us, even our views, everything that we see. And there's going to be this thing that drops in and it's going to say like fucking Hulu. Or something like that. Like you're going to be done. You've been on a fucking show the whole time, just watching this shit unfold.
Yeah, I mean, we don't get very political on here, but if you're hardcore Biden or hardcore Trump, I got to question you at some level, because like,
you're hardcore anything.
Yeah, like that's my guy. Like, I don't care that he's senile and has no idea what's going on and did all these terrible things his whole career, and now he doesn't even know what day it is, and then, oh, this guy, he's great because he's just like us because he says what he means, but he says shit that he means that's terrible most of the time. So it's like,
yeah, I'm like, just because you have candor doesn't mean I have to like what's coming out of your suck at the same time.
Yeah, at least I know where you stand. The other side,
that is a plus. I have to say, we don't like offensive clothes or things that people wear, that make a statement that is, taking on another person's race, creed, color, position, gender, whatever it is. That said, it sure does cut out a lot of BS with regard to whether or not I need to fucking even engage with this person in any way, shape, or form. It's a filter. I'm like, you're basically like telling me you're an enemy in a video game without saying you're an enemy.
Yeah, I love MAGA hats.
Well, not enemy.
They're my favorite article of clothing. The guy's got a MAGA hat on. I know everything I need to know about that dude. Cool. I will.
Unfortunately, there's a certain amount of, God, dude, I hate to say things like that definitively, but I got to tell you, I'm not going to take my chances the other way.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I'm not going to say definitively that somebody is somebody that I don't feel like having the conversation with, but there's a pretty good possibility that I just don't feel. You don't convince somebody of their political affiliation or their change. You cannot do it. You know how that happens? Experiences.
Yeah.
That's it.
I used to argue with people on Facebook like a lot, 4, 5, 6 years ago or whatever. I changed 0 people's minds. 0 people changed my mind. It just got ugly. It's never going to work that way. Like someone that goes that far to wear that hat either firmly believes that or was convinced by somebody else that firmly believes those things. And in a 2-minute conversation is just going to aggravate you. And, if we have time, at the end of the day, what needs to happen is people need to just sit down and have a fucking beer together for a little while. And and just finally, everybody wants the same shit. We need to find
common ground.
Yeah. People want the same shit at the end of the day. They want to be healthy and happy and their family to be okay and roof over their head. And, sit down and talk about it. I've seen all kinds of people come together after something like that. Even at work, we have people of all different races, creeds, colors, political stuff. You sit down after a couple of days, lunch table or whatever, most people are like cool. Very rarely do they still have any kind of beef. You at least be like, all right, he might believe some shit that I don't, but at least that's a good dude. Or like,
I want people to believe shit I don't because I'm not fucking right. Like, I'm pretty positive that I don't know shit but what I know, and it's just my perspective. So I can't guess for anybody else how they should be interpreting anything. Just be cool. Like, just be cool. That's it.
Yeah. If you break it all down, and there's like these tests you could do online, it says like where you really at, politically, and most people aren't where they think they are. But you only really have 2 choices.
Right.
Most people fall in the center, I think, but the center's constantly moving. So it's like far left now is like way more left than it was 5 years ago. And like, you just don't know.
I can't control what other people think. And I've come to a point in my life where I don't want to try to figure out what other people think because I can't even figure out what the fuck I'm thinking. Like, it just doesn't work. So
people got to take the whole picture. It's easy to be like, no one should have guns. Okay, I agree with that. But there's 400 million guns in America right now. So you can't.
You're not getting those back.
Yeah. And they're like, well, look at Australia. Like, well, there's no guns there. So it's like easy to be like, don't have guns. But I want to have a gun because 400 million other people have a gun. If they didn't, I wouldn't need one, wouldn't want one. But I would like to have one in my home just in case one of those people tries to come in my home. That's my theory on it. If they could all go away, I would be so good with that. But you got to start at a point where there's 4 million guns, not like if we didn't have guns, and that's just like, I'm an anti-gun person. It is ideal world of no guns. When people break in my house, which happened recently, like that dude could have had a gun. Like, what am I going to do? But, in a vacuum, nothing, right? And just like the healthcare thing, I believe in universal healthcare for all people. But then when you put all these healthcare companies into that equation and they're dirty and disgusting and terrible and the insurance companies are there and they're just looking for more ways to take advantage, like, okay, well, that doesn't work within the system that we have. So it's like, how do we get the common sense into these things and go, okay, we can't just say everyone gets healthcare and like not have any way to do that, or no more guns, but no way to get rid of the 400 million. It's like, there's middle ground where people could just sit and go like, okay, like, hey, how do we make it so more people could, get guns out of the wrong people's hands slowly, or more people could get healthcare, but not just everybody free for all, but doesn't make sense. And there's no infrastructure to support that. It's like, how do we because everybody wants healthcare,
It's a basic human right. The way that we have, I've watched my mom with stage 4 cancer for several years now, and it's become more and more apparent. And again, I'll never say any kind of political affiliation whatsoever. I don't care about that, but I can definitely say that our healthcare system and the way that we treat our people in this country when they're at their weakest points is the most disgusting thing that I could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
We work for 50 years to survive in the country in order to pay for our funeral.
If you could pay
and
for
our end of life care.
Yeah.
Because you don't, unless you're one of the lucky ones that goes overnight, sleeping in bed, the majority of people are going to land in a hospital. and the majority of people don't have health care. And the majority of people are going to have some ridiculously high set of bills that they're going to leave to their kids or whatever, or it's going to take away the last few dollars that they have of their estate, that they tried to save up for them. It's fucking disgusting.
Yeah,
There's
because
got to be a better way
we don't have
to
compromise.
take care of each other.
We have a pendulum. Everything free, nothing free, like depending on who wins. And it's like, we don't have compromise in our government at all. It just flies one way and then that guy loses eventually and it flies the other way and they just try to undo everything the other person did, right or wrong. So it's like, you're back to fucking square one. If the Obamacare and stuff started to work, I don't know. I wasn't, I didn't see it really well to know if it was starting to work or not. But even if it did, as soon as the other guy's in, they're like, let's shred all of that and go back to what we want. And then a Democrat wins again, and they're like, let's try to bring it back over there, but it's all got fucked up, any of the good and bad. So like,
what point are we going to realize that this is a mental illness, but collectively?
it's like Yankees versus Red Sox or some shit. Like, that's what side I was born on, and I'm just like, there's only two choices.
And it all starts with Michael Mouse.
Yeah, it's like,
we get all our news from both sides of the ears from the mouse, and we wonder how we have these opinions that keep us in conflict for forever and a day so that we never stop and look up or find out what's happening around us. We're spent on the hamster wheel over and over and over again because once we stop, i.e. the pandemic, people start to question whether or not we need to be doing the things that we do every single day.
yeah, and look at like Fox, right? So Fox's news is like very right wing. But then they have FX, which has like Dave and Louie and like the most liberal people on the fucking planet, right? Like, they don't give a shit about either side. They give a shit where the money comes in. So Fox News, like, those people are hardcore. You put enough American flags on and have a bunch of white old men and young blonde women fucking screaming at the TV. They're like, that's what it's for. Yeah, America. And then on the other side, you have Louie and like all these liberal shows that are like, progressive and funny. And they're like, yeah, but they don't realize like that's also the people that are America on the other. It's like, where can I make the most money? If tomorrow Fox News can make more money pandering to liberals, they just would.
It's kind of like the political system is like the NFL in that it's owned by a commission, but has separate teams within it that it operates against each other for the entertainment of the people sitting at the top.
That's just the money. Just the money.
Yeah, but the people in the game, the ones on the field, are not aware that there's a game.
All these people go to the same country clubs. They eat dinner at the same fancy restaurants. Their kids go to the same private schools. Democrats' kids, Republicans' kids in Washington shit, they all go to the same schools. They're at the same golf courses, golfing with each other on Sunday morning while we're fucking fighting on social media all week. And Johnny Republican and fucking Billy Democrat are sitting there at a fucking $1,000 a fucking round golf course while we're arguing with each other.
When I worked in corporate America at a fairly decent level, you get to see people making decisions that impact large groups of humanity with no regard for what they're going to do to the human footprint in a given area at any given time.
It's numbers on a spreadsheet.
It's disgusting. It's so disgusting. I don't know how I even lived in it. I can understand why I was so self-loathing to the point that, I was just drinking so I wouldn't even feel pain. And knowing that world is just so fucked up. It's just not right. And you almost have to force yourself to stay in it or justify it in different ways. And that's how you can, continue on. But at the end of the day, like I've heard somebody say literally, that if somebody didn't wake up and answer the phone, even though they didn't work for like 48 hours, I'll just replace them with robotics, and something like that just disgusted me. This person had a child. They were working 4 or 5 days straight for 30 hours a day in a different country. The person wasn't just asking them to get on the phone or in a meeting. They were asking them to get on the phone or a meeting at 3 a.m. to talk to them about some shit that could wait till the next day.
Should have got up.
When I started seeing stuff like that, I was like, I can't do this. This just it's not right.
I think that's a good segue into the main reason that we're here this morning.
47 minutes in.
Oh shit, it's been that long.
Our time management is amazing.
I was guessing 15 minutes max.
I think that we actually just gave ourselves a detention episode, and we'll do a interview episode on the next episode or one of the upcoming ones. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think we can do that now or later or some 4 hours or 4 minutes.
We're good. Remember, be cool and keep learning. Welcome to the Tragedy Academy, a show created to bridge society.
I don't have a watch on. Sorry.
What's up, academics? This episode is sponsored by Podpage. Build a beautiful podcast website in 5 minutes. Automatically create a beautiful listener-friendly podcast site from your RSS feed. So you can import your RSS feed into this site, and it automatically generates everything for you. Puts in your artwork, puts in your show notes, puts in all those links, your guest info, everything right there. You get to customize the design to create a professional look that you'll be proud of in a few clicks. You don't have to have a coding background. You don't have to have technical knowledge. This is all plug and play. Choose the design you like, fit and tailored to your brand, the right colors, the right layout, so many different things to choose from. The templates are endless. So get out there, go to thetragedyacademy.com, click on the sponsors tab, and help support the show by clicking the Podpage link and purchasing your new site today. And remember, academics, be cool and keep learning.